What is good, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Living in a foreign country is going to change you. That is pretty much undisputed fact. It's going to broaden your horizons, it's going to deepen your knowledge of other cultures and peoples, and it's going to expand your understanding of the human condition and other such cliches.
Satori no himitsu o shieru no?
Dame yo. Are wa gakokujin daro.
Living in a foreign country is also going to change you in ways that you might not expect. And that's what I'm going to talk about today. 3 ways that I have changed in ways that I really didn't predict before I came to Japan. There's 2 criteria I use for cultivating these 3 things. And one of them is it has to be something that's related to Japan, in that it couldn't have been I just moved to any country and this changed about me. I feel like these things are related specifically to the fact that I'm in Japan. The second criteria is that it's something deeper than daily manners and daily habits. So I'm not going to talk about like table manners or my habit of bowing when I talk on the phone, which is something I picked up relatively quickly actually. So I'm going to be addressing things that are deeper than just like daily manners and habits. So let's talk about it. First way that I have changed that I did not expect and frankly didn't even notice at first was how I speak. Something as fundamental as how I speak my native language is completely different than before I came to Japan. And I feel that it's stronger having come to Japan than say if I'd moved to Norway or Spain or Brazil or Russia or something like that. And it's something I didn't actually notice. Like, it wasn't something I was aware of until friends and family back in the States, when I would go to visit, would say, you know, you talk different. And when I tried to pin down what they were referring to, I didn't really get clear answers, and maybe 2 or 3 people actually said I sounded Canadian now, whatever that means. So I realized that what I was probably doing is leveling, meaning I'm reducing the strength of my accent. But it actually goes deeper than that, and I first realized how deep when I actually went back and listened to some of my early videos on this channel. I've in many ways slowed down how I chunk my words in English together. We don't typically speak word after word with big pauses in between the words. Like, we don't talk like that. We run everything together. So if I ask you, have you ever been in an accident? Like, been in an accident is this big chunk. We don't say been in an accident. And what I've been doing is I've been putting greater separation, speaking more slowly, enunciating more clearly in general, because it helps people to understand me here. And the reason why it's important in Japan, as opposed to say Norway or Germany or Brazil, is because there's a really fundamental difference in how the languages sound, English and Japanese. The stress patterns in English are much stronger, and that chunking of words can really throw Japanese listeners off. So even really experienced Japanese English speakers who can read and write and speak pretty well, their listening can still be only so-so because of these issues. And so in order to help people understand me, I've unconsciously done these fixes or changes to the way I speak. And it's something that even when I go back to my home state of Wisconsin, apparently it doesn't go away because my friends and family have commented on this. Now, I'm actually trying to fix this because listening to my early YouTube channel videos, I'm like, wow, I'm really talking slowly and I sound like an English teacher and I'm gonna put people to sleep with videos like this. So I'm trying to revert to my more original way of speaking. All right, the second thing that has really changed about me, and this is going to at first seem like a manner thing, but it goes deeper than that. And that is, I am so on board with the idea of taking your shoes off when you enter a home. And it goes beyond just like, oh, it's the polite thing to do in Japan. It's actually, I get a visceral disgust reaction when I see photos or videos of people in their house with shoes on. And I follow several fashion channels on YouTube and Instagram, and when I see like a photo of someone in their house with their shoes on, I'm just like, oh, what are you doing? That's disgusting. It's become ingrained to a point where it's not just like, oh, it's the polite thing to do in Japan. It's like everyone should do it everywhere. It's ridiculous that you wear dirty shoes in the house.
Yeah, well, that's disgusting.
I was actually looking at an Instagram photo the other day. This Instagrammer who's in Italy, he had a picture of himself either in his home or someone else's home in what looked like a private study or library or something office, and he was actually standing on top of a coffee table in his shoes, and I'm thinking, that is disgusting. I mean, not only might they serve like coffee and sandwiches on that table from time to time, or someone comes in and casually puts their muffler onto the table and then wraps it around their face later. I mean, it's just gross. Stop doing that. So that's definitely a place where I can't go back. So the third and final thing that has really changed about me fundamentally is not so much what I've done differently or has changed about me, but more how I've lost or thrown away so many things that defined me from my past when I lived in the US. If you asked 20-year-old me, what are the main things in my life? What are my main hobbies, interests, and pastimes? I would have told you, first and foremost, music. I played the cello, I played the piano, I sing in choruses, or I did, I should say. And I was in an orchestra, I played in string ensembles like quartets and trios. And also, I was into fishing. On the weekends, I would often go fishing on lakes or rivers. I was even so deep into it that I did fly tying, for fly fishing. And I played a lot of golf. I grew up in a golfing family, and almost every weekend we'd be out on the golf course somewhere. And all of these things, due to either price or access or just interests having gone in a different direction, none of these things. Another one would have been cinema and theater. I used to go to the cinema all the time, or to live theater as well. That doesn't happen here either. To put it in a nutshell, I haven't touched my cello in years. I haven't gone to a cinema in years. In fact, I've probably gone to a cinema in Japan maybe 4 or 5 times total in all my years here. I've been to a live theater show once. I've played golf twice in 15 years, and those were both in like the first 2 years of me being in Japan, so it's been a long time. I don't even have clubs in Japan. So, price and access. The reason why I think this is a Japan-specific issue is all of the things I've mentioned are expensive in one way or another, or difficult to access. Golf is very expensive. The cinema is very expensive. Access to the theaters is actually limited. In my hometown, there were like 5 or 6 cinemas. There's probably about that in all of Yokohama, which is a huge city. It's ridiculous how few cinemas there are. The first place I lived in Japan didn't have a cinema in town. As for music, well, the first places I lived in Japan were small apartments with very thin walls. So the idea of practicing or playing, you have to do it during the day when you can't really be accused of bothering people. But I work all day, so basically that went out the window. I do have my cello in Japan, I never play it. So what I'm getting at here is that all of the things that define you, the things that you're into, might completely change when you move to a foreign country. And it's going to be based on the conditions of where you move to. If it's a place like Japan, certain things are going to become too expensive to really do on any regular basis. Or you're going to have to deal with small spaces, thin walls. You know, if you're used to your home theater system where you turn up the volume of the movies you're watching, yeah, you can't even do that in a Japanese neighborhood with homes because people will complain. So I want to reiterate that when you move to a foreign country, the changes will be mostly good, I think. Obviously, it's been an overall positive experience living in Japan for me, and I'm still here, but who I am has definitely changed, and not always for the better, and not always in expected ways. How about you? Have you lived in a foreign country and experienced some of these same things? Are you thinking about moving to Japan and might be worried about some of these things happening to you? Make some comments below. I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and let me know, am I speaking normal or do I still sound like an English teacher? Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe if that's your thing, and I hope to catch you on the next one. I drop a video about Japan's society, life, and culture every single Friday. So I have content coming out every week, and I have a lot of content from the past that you can check out if you haven't. Thank you for watching this one, and I'll see you next week. Peace.